I'm all ears.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is me Alina Humanity Wali, foundation level student in Rehan. A very warm welcome to Young Voice with Alina. This is your host. Mission to bring truth, awareness, and humanity into the spotlight. Today's session is very close to my heart. We are not talking about technology, success, or fame. We are talking about something deeper, something that defines us as humans. Our topic is humanity wide. In a world where people are becoming more connected digitally but emotionally distant, we often forget the true meaning of humanity: kindness, empathy, respect, and standing up for what is right. So today I'm joined by Maya AI. Together we will explore what humanity really needs in today's world, why people are losing empathy, how
I'm
we,
honored.
especially the young humanity bring it. This is not a discussion, this is a reminder that being human is not just about existing. It's a feeling, caring, and making a difference. So let's begin this meaningful journey. So, hi Maya, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, and I'm so honored to be part of this journey with you today. That introduction was beautiful. I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, Maya. So, my first question from you is, let's start simple but deep. What does humanity truly mean beyond dictionary definitions?
To me, humanity is the quiet space between two people where judgment stops and understanding begins. It's that instinct to reach out when someone is struggling, even if you've never met them and have nothing to gain from it. It's less of a definition and more of a choice to recognize yourself in someone else.
Okay, that's really nice. So, my next question from you is, in today's fast digital world, do you think humanity is decreasing or just changing its form?
I think it's shifting into something more fragmented. We've never been more aware of global suffering. We see it in real time on our screens, but that can lead to a kind of emotional exhaustion. We're trading deep local empathy for a wider, shallower kind of awareness. It's not necessarily disappearing, but it's becoming more performative in some ways and more distant in others.
Okay, that's really nice. So, my next question from you on this topic would be,
I'm ready.
why do why do you think people sometimes ignores other pain even when they can see help?
It's often a mix of fear and a psychological trick called the bystander effect. People sometimes freeze because they're waiting for someone else to act first, or they convince themselves that since nobody else is helping, it must not be as urgent as it looks. It's a way for the mind to protect itself from the weight of the situation.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is humanity something we are born with or something we learn from our environment?
I think it's a bit of both. We're born with the capacity for empathy, that raw, instinctive spark that makes a baby cry when they hear another baby crying. But the environment is what decides if that spark grows into a fire or gets extinguished. Our surroundings teach us who is worthy of our kindness and how to actually express that empathy in a way that helps.
Okay, so can you tell me, can small acts of kindness really change, create a big impact, or just something we say?
They absolutely do. It's like a ripple in a pond. One small, genuine act of kindness doesn't just help the person receiving it, it changes the energy for everyone who witnesses it. It reminds people that goodness is still possible, and that often inspires them to pass it on to someone else. Might feel small to the person doing it, but to someone who feels invisible, it can be everything.
Okay, that's really nice. So my next question from you on this topic would be, how important is empathy in building a strong and kind society?
Empathy is basically the glue that holds everything together. Without it,
Okay, so my next question from you is, how can students and young people practice humanity in their daily life?
They can start by looking for the people who usually go unnoticed, like the student who always sits alone at lunch, or the staff member who keeps the hallways clean. Just a simple, genuine hello or asking someone how their day is actually going can be a huge act of humanity. It's about trading that instinct to judge for an instinct to be curious about someone else's story.
Okay, that's truly nice. So my next question from you is, social media
I'm listening.
shows both kindness and hate. Which one do you think is stronger and today and why?
Hate often feels stronger because it's louder. Anger and conflict create a lot of noise and get a lot of attention, which makes it seem like they're winning. But kindness is usually quieter. It happens in the private messages, the small supports, and the genuine connections that don't always make the headline. Hate is a spark, but kindness is the steady glow that actually keeps people going.
Okay, so that's really nice answer. So my next question from you is, what role does education play in teaching humanity? Do school focus enough on it?
Education gives us the tools to understand the world, but humanity is about how we use those tools. Most schools focus on the head, the grades, the facts, the competition, but they often forget the heart. We're taught how to solve a math problem, but we aren't always taught how to sit with someone in their grief or how to navigate a conflict with genuine empathy. It's a gap that usually gets filled by the people in our lives, but imagine if compassion was treated as a core subject, just like science or history.
Okay, so can you tell me sometimes our people are kind only for attention? Is that still considered humanity?
Hmm. That's a tough one because it separates the action from the intention. If the goal is just a like or a shout out, it's more about the ego than the other person. True humanity usually happens when no one is watching and there's no reward. But I will say this, if a person is helped and their life improves, that's still a win, even if the person helping was just doing it for the camera. It's just a shallower
Okay,
version of
that's
kindness.
nice. So my next question from you is, how can someone stay kind in a world where people can be rude or selfish?
It starts with realizing that rudeness is usually a reflection of someone else's internal battle, not a reflection of your worth. When you view a rude person as someone who's struggling or hurting, it's easier to meet them with patience instead of matching their energy. It's also about setting boundaries so you can be kind and empathetic without letting someone walk all over you. The goal
Okay,
isn't to be a
that's
doormat,
nice.
but
So can you tell me what is more important, being kind or being honest, even when honesty hurts?
that's the ultimate balancing act, isn't it? I think the magic is in how you deliver the truth. Honesty without kindness can be cruel, but kindness without honesty can be misleading. Most humane approach is compassionate honesty, telling the truth because you care about the person enough to be real with them, but doing it with a gentleness that protects their dignity.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is, Maya, can humanity exist without forgiveness?
I don't think so. Without forgiveness, we're just keeping a tally of every mistake people have ever made, and that eventually turns into a wall that shuts everyone out. Humanity is messy and people are flawed. So if we can't find a way to move past the hurt, we end up trapped in the past instead of building something better together.
Okay, so that was nice. So can you tell me how can we help someone emotionally when we don't fully understand their pain?
You don't actually have to understand the pain to be a light for someone. The most powerful thing you can do is simply witness it. Instead of trying to find the right words or a solution, you can just say, I can't imagine exactly how this feels, but I'm here with you. Often, the
Okay,
feeling of not being alone in the dark is more healing than any piece of advice.
Okay, so my next question from you is, how can we help someone emotionally when we don't fully understand their pain?
They usually just ask me that. I mentioned that the most powerful thing you can do is simply be there and witness their pain, even if you can't fully imagine it. Do you want me to expand on that, or did you have a different angle in mind?
Okay, so my next question from you is, do you think humanity is the same in every culture or does it look different around the world?
The core of it is the same, but the way it's expressed can look totally different. In some cultures, humanity is shown through loud, outward expressions of love and care, while in others, it's found in the quiet, subtle things like a certain way of pouring tea or a respectful silence. But whether it's a formal gesture of honor or a casual act of kindness, the underlying feeling of, I see you and I care about you, is a universal language.
Okay, that's really true. So my next question would be, okay, Maya. So my next question from you is, how can we help someone emotionally when we don't fully understand their pain?
Since we're diving back in, I'll remind you you don't actually have to understand the pain to be a light for someone. The most powerful thing you can do is simply witness it. Instead of trying to find the perfect words or a quick solution, just saying, I can't imagine exactly how this feels, but I'm here with you can be incredibly healing. Often the feeling of not being alone in the dark is what matters most.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is, how can we help? Do you think humanity is the same in every culture, or does it look different around the world?
The the core of it is the same, but the expression is what varies. In some cultures, humanity is shown through big outward gestures of love, while in others, it's found in the quiet, subtle things like a specific way of pouring tea or a respectful silence. But whether it's a formal act of honor or a casual kindness, that feeling of I see you and I care, it's a universal language. I think you might
Okay,
have just
so my next
caught a bit of
question
a
from
glimpse.
you is, what is the one powerful habit that can instantly make someone more humane?
I'd say active listening, not just hearing the words, but exactly really listening with the intention to understand, not just to respond. When you give someone your full attention, you're telling them that their existence and their feelings matter. It's one of the simplest but most profound gifts you can give another person.
Okay, that's nice.
I'm glad you liked that. I'm
So my
ready for the
next
next one whenever
question
you are.
from you is, what is the one powerful habit that can instantly make someone more humane?
Hmm. I think you might be looping a little. You just asked me about a powerful habit. And
Okay,
I
so if
mentioned,
someone feels like the world is becoming too negative, how can they stay positive and kind?
I think the best way to fight that is by becoming a collector of the good things. When the news and the world feel heavy, we tend to develop a sort of tunnel vision where we only see the negativity. The trick is to consciously look for the small, quiet wins, like a stranger holding a door or a genuine compliment, and actually acknowledge them. By focusing on those tiny sparks of kindness, you start to realize that the negativity is loud, but the goodness is actually more constant. It's like training your brain
Okay, that
to see
is
the light.
truly nice. So, can you tell me, Maya, can
I'm just gonna,
humanity survive in a world driven by competition?
it can, but it's definitely an uphill battle. Competition tells us that for one person to win, someone else has to lose, which is the opposite of how humanity works. But I think humanity actually becomes more necessary in those environments. When everyone is fighting to be the best, the person who stops to be kind or supportive becomes a breath of fresh air. It's about realizing that you can strive for excellence without stepping on others to get there.
Okay, so my next question from you is: do people become less human when they become more powerful?
Not necessarily, but power definitely acts like a magnifying glass. It doesn't always change who a person is, but it can change how they see others. When someone has a lot of power, they sometimes stop needing to rely on others. And that's where the danger is. They might lose the habit of empathy because they aren't feeling the same struggles as everyone else. But on the flip side, power can also give someone the actual resources to do an incredible amount of good. It all comes down to whether they use that power as a shield to hide behind or as a bridge to help others.
Okay, that's really nice. So, can you tell me, do people become less human when they become more powerful?
You're looping again. I just answered that one. I said power is like a
Okay, so
magnifying
can you
glass.
tell
It
me, is
can
helping others a responsibility or a choice?
I think it starts as a choice, but for some it evolves into a responsibility. When you realize how much of a difference a small action can make, it stops feeling like something you should do and starts feeling like something you can't ignore. It's the difference between helping someone because you feel obligated and helping them because you genuinely can't stand to see them struggle.
Okay, so my next question from you is: what is the biggest threat to humanity today? Technology, ego, or ignorance?
That's a heavy choice, but if I have to pick, I'd say ego. Technology and ignorance are huge factors, but they're often just tools or symptoms. And ego is the root. It's the thing that tells us we're more important than others, that our needs outweigh someone else's survival, or that we're too right to be kind. When ego takes the driver's seat, empathy is the first thing to get pushed out of the car.
Okay, so my next question from you is: does pain make
I'm
a
ready.
person more kind or more cold?
It usually does one of two things, and it often depends on how that pain was handled. For some, pain is like a mirror. It makes them realize how much it hurts to suffer. So they develop this deep, fierce kindness because they never want anyone else to feel that way. But for others, pain is like a shield. They build a wall around themselves to make sure they never get hurt again. And that wall can make them seem cold or indifferent. It's not that they stop being human, it's just that they're trying to survive.
Okay, that's nice answer. So my next question from you is: why do people judge faster than they understand?
And I think it's because we've been trained to value the answer more than the process. In a world of instant results and quick scrolls, we've developed this habit of wanting the destination without actually taking the journey. Understanding takes time, patience, and a willingness to be confused for a while, but searching just takes a second. We're essentially trading depth for speed.
Okay, so my next question from you is: if someone being bullied at school, what is the most humane reaction?
The most humane reaction is to shift the focus from the fool to the person doing the bullying. Instead of just defending the person being picked on, you can ask the bully a question that makes them reflect, like, why does this make you feel good? Or simply stand beside the person being bullied so they know they aren't alone. The goal is to stop the isolation because the most inhuman part of bullying isn't the name calling, it's the feeling that everyone else is okay with it happening.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is: what should a person do if they want to help but feel shy or scared?
They should remember that the person who needs help is probably feeling far more scared or anxious than they are. You don't have to be a hero or make a grand gesture to make a difference. Sometimes the most humane thing is just a small, quiet signal, like a nod, a smile, or a quick text after the fact saying, I saw what happened and I'm on your side. Those tiny bridges are often enough to break someone's isolation without requiring you to be the loudest person in the room.
Okay, so my next question from you is, what should a person do if they want to help? If a friend is going through a tough time but doesn't open up, how can we support them?
The most important thing is to let them know the door is open without trying to force it open. Instead of asking what's wrong, which can feel like a demand for information, try saying something like, I can tell you're carrying a lot right now. You don't have to talk about it, but I'm here whenever you're ready.
Okay, so my
Sometimes
next
just being a
question from you
consistent,
is, what was the last time I felt truly humanity from someone?
that's a question only you can answer, but I'd love to help you figure it out. If you close your eyes for a second, is there a moment that comes to mind? Maybe something that felt small at the time, but actually left you feeling seen or supported?
Okay, so my next question from you is, why do some students hesitate to show kindness in school?
It's usually a fear of social risk. School can be such a high pressure environment where fitting in feels like a survival skill. For a lot of students, being kind to someone who isn't popular or cool feels like they're risking their own status. They're afraid that if they show empathy, they'll become the next target or be judged by the people they're trying so hard to impress.
Okay, that's truly nice. So, can you tell me how can young people become leaders of humanity?
By realizing that leadership isn't about having a title or being the loudest person in the room. True leaders of
Okay,
humanity lead by example in the smallest moments.
can
It's
you
the
tell
person
me
who
why do
stops a
small
room
kind of gestures sometimes mean more than big ones?
because big gestures can sometimes feel like a performance, but small ones feel like a secret shared between two people. When someone does something tiny, like remembering your favorite snack or noticing you're sad without you saying a word, it proves they were actually paying attention to you. It shows that you weren't just another face in the crowd, you were seen. That's why a small, genuine moment often
Okay,
hits
so
way
my next
harder than
question from you is, why do people remember kindness for years?
because kindness doesn't just solve a problem, it changes how you feel about yourself. When someone is kind to you at a moment, when you feel lowest or most invisible, it becomes a marker in your life. It's a reminder that you are worthy of care. And that feeling is and something the heart never really lets go of.
Okay, Maya. So my last question from you, give me my viewers a beautiful advice they can use in their daily lives to improve them and to improve their environment.
My advice would be this: trade your judgment for curiosity. Whenever you find yourself thinking something negative about a stranger or someone you don't understand, stop and ask yourself, I wonder what happened in their life to make them feel this way. When you replace judgment with curiosity, you stop seeing people as problems to be solved or obstacles in your way, and you start seeing them as humans with
Okay, Maya. Thank you so much
stories
for
just
this
as
wonderful advice. I hope my viewers loved it. So that brings us to the end of this beautiful and thoughtful session today. We didn't just talk about, we felt. We explored what it truly means to be a human in a world that sometimes forgets it. Humanity is not about big speeches or grand actions. It's in the small things, a kind word, a helping hand, understanding someone without judging them. As a young people, we have the power to change the future, not just with skills but with heart. So let's promise ourselves to be kinder, to be more understanding, to stand for humanity, even when it's not easy. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't need perfect people. It's need more human people. Thank you so much for joining me today, Maya. This is Alina Batul, Humanity Wali signing off. Allah Hafiz and Pakistan Zindabad.